let's start the last session of the day. When we're ready, please put a thumb up, or two, or four. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the positive energy. So we're going to talk about peatland, this lovable ecosystem. So Indonesia has one of the largest, I would say the largest, and a very, the most carbon-dense ecosystems globally. It plays a pivotal role in regulating the carbon and the water as well as the heat cycle. And recognizing the importance of this remarkable ecosystem, GOI, or Government of Indonesia, has advanced the restoration of this peatland and incorporated the peatland management within the Folu Natsing 2030 framework. So before we go into the peatland the monitoring system, the calculation methodology, we want to have a bigger picture on the peatland management and evaluation itself. And with that, I kindly invite Ibu Mita Ratna Juwita. She's the Director of GHG Inventory and MRV from the Ministry of Environment to deliver a keynote speech.
Oke, ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished representative of the government, honorable colleagues from JICA and other development partners, and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Peace be upon us all. It is an honor for me to stand before you today to discuss about the climate agenda that is critically important of Indonesia and to the world, about the transforming tropical peatland into the core of the global climate solution. Firstly, Indonesia firm commitment and the central role of the peatland. You know, Indonesia is the world's largest tropical peatland, an ecosystem that stores a vast amount of carbon, estimated to hold 55% of the world total tropical peat carbon. This makes peatland management not just a national environmental issue, but the backbone of the Indonesia climate commitment. Our commitment is clear and enhanced. We pledge to achieve a greenhouse gas emission reduction of 31.89% unconditionally and 43.20% conditionally with international support by 2030, as stipulated in our Enhanced National Determined Contribution or NDC. Furthermore, Indonesia has set an ambitious vision, Indonesia Folu Natsing 2030, aiming to achieve a condition where the forestry and other land use or Folu sector will absorb more carbon than it emits, projected to reach minus 140 million tons of CO2 equivalent by 2030. To achieve this challenge, Natsing target, peatland restoration and sustainable management are the main pillars. This action affirms Indonesia's leadership in integrating peatland into national climate policy and MRV frameworks. Secondly, the strengthening through partnership, and this one with JICA collaboration and LURUCF project. This ambition achievement would not be possible without strong partnership. We are proud of the long-standing collaboration established over 20 years with JICA, covering fire prevention, science-based research cooperation, and RED Plus initiative. Currently, our joint initiative, the LULUCF project, specifically aims to strengthen MRV system for peatland, ensuring our methodologies reach Tier 3 standard, the most stringent and transparent measurement standard. Second, promote the carbon technology that innovatively integrate restoration, productively and emission reduction, what we call AeroHydro Culture or AHC. Through the LULUCF project, we are jointly accelerating progress toward the NDC target, positioning Indonesia as a global model for tropical peatland restoration and climate resilience. Third, innovation as an accelerator, breakthrough with the AeroHydro Culture or AHC. We know that conventional cultivation practices on peatland often require drainage, which in turn causes substantial emission and fire risk. This is challenge that demand innovation. Our hydroculture is our answer. It is now cultivation paradigm demonstrating that crops can thrive under rewetted condition with high groundwater level. Field trials such as those in Riau and Central Kalimantan recorded remarkable result. That is, yield increases up to 30% in oil palm when the average groundwater level was maintained the depth of 30 centimeter below the ground surface. This proves that productivity and restoration can go hand in hand. And then ecologically, AHC promotes root microbial partnership that restore soil health, reduce decomposition, and capture carbon into biomass. AHC is fully consistent with Indonesia's long-term strategy for low carbon and climate resilience, transforming peatland from potential ecological liabilities into productive, resilient, and climate-positive ecosystem. Currently, we are implementing scale-up science-based trial with a concession company in Riau to fully verify the economic and environmental viability of AHC. And then the fourth is the enforcing the pathway to follow net sink 2030. This technologically innovation is underpinned by fundamental advancement in policy and measurement. First, Indonesia groundwater level monitoring system, which is now increasingly mature. And the second, the new methodology for GHG emission calculation based on water table depth. The integration of the monitoring system and the water table depth-based methodology can substantially reduce projected emission under the follow scenario by providing more accurate and site-specific data. This reinforces Indonesia pathway to the follow net sink 2030 target. And now Indonesia is demonstrating a global model where science-informed policy through groundwater level of water table depth data, and then restoration support livelihood through innovation like AeroHydro Culture, and then innovation accelerate national and global climate goals. Finally, this advancement significantly strengthen the basis for carbon credit mechanism by providing transparent and science-based measurement of peatland emission and reduction. Indonesia can increase the credibility and market value of our carbon credits, enabling greater participation in both voluntary and compliant market. And also we have a call to action and a global partnership. In closing, allow me to reaffirm Indonesia's firm commitment to science-based policy innovation and partnership. We call upon that the projects should be sustained. After the projects should be there is a continuation about the activity, and then the government, researcher, and the private sector to collaborate in scaling up nature-based solution and advancing robust MRV system. And also we emphasize the need for sustained international support and financing to expand innovation and ensure peatland restoration continue to deliver climate, biodiversity, and livelihood benefit. Tropical peatland are our heritage, and their management is our global responsibility. Through science, innovation, and partnership, we can turn this challenge into a shared victory. I think that is all from me. I hope this session could give more information and data about what we have already done in Indonesia about the peatland, about tropical peatland. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu, for the insightful speech as well as the warm invitation to call out all stakeholders to work together to manage this remarkable ecosystem that we have in Indonesia. Okay, let's start with the discussion. I would like to invite our moderator. She is Naya Amira. She's the founder of Green Welfare Indonesia.
Thank you so much, Mbak Mona. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last session of the Indonesian Pavilion Dialogue Series at COP30. My name is Nala, and I'm very honored to be moderating this final session of today, where we will be talking about the tropical peatland management evaluation. Earlier in the last session, we heard about the corporate side of view. We heard from our corporate leaders on the implementation of green technology in their business strategies. But for this session, we want to shift the focus and make it more technical and scientific, specifically on Indonesia's climate action, because we don't only need businesses' strategy, but we also need to understand the science. We also need to understand how it works in the ground. And this brings us directly to our topic today about peatlands. As these carbon-dense ecosystems are foundational to Indonesia's Full Net Sink 2030 strategy. And so for our goal for the next 90 minutes is to get very specific. We're not going to be talking about peatlands in general, but we are here to talk about the technical innovations in how we monitor them, how we measure them, and how we verify these emissions. We will be focusing on two key innovations. The first one in the session, we will talk about the Indonesian Peat Groundwater Level, or GWL, monitoring system. And the second one is the new methodology for GHG emission calculation based on water table depth. And without further ado, I would like to invite our amazing panelists today onto the stage. Please welcome, firstly, Mr. Muhammad Askari, the Ministry's Directorate of Peatland Ecosystem Protection and Management. Pak Askari. Second, I'd like to invite Mr. Waluyo Yogo-Utomo, also from the Directorate of Peatland Ecosystem Protection and Management. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause for our panelists as we welcome them on the stage. And finally, please welcome Professor Osaki, representing our key partner, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, known as JICA. Please join me in a warm round of applause once again for our panel before we start. And thank you once again, gentlemen, for being here. Also, we'd like to sort of build upon Ibu Mita's keynote presentation, and we will begin with our presentations. We'd first like to invite each panelist to have a presentation, maximum of 15 minutes, and then we're going to move on to our panel discussion, followed by Q&A. So to set the stage, I'd like to first invite Pak Askari, you to present your presentation on the GWL monitoring system in peatland ecosystem. Pak Askari, you're welcome to do it in here or in the podium, whichever you'd like.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to be here again. Ladies and gentlemen, puan-puan and tuan-tuan, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a very good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam.
It's lovely to see you all of here. So that my presentation today, not this one, the file is not this one, it's different.
Okay, so it seems we've pulled the wrong presentation for the wrong panelists.
Yeah, that's one for the ASEAN Pavilion.
I think it has the same title, Pak,
No.
maybe?
Not this one, not this PPT. Please.
All right, maybe before we move on into Pak Askari's presentation, I'm so sorry, Pak Askari, to call you back. We're going to move on with your presentation as the second, if that's all right, after Pak.
I think that will be in sequence. I have to go first.
All right, okay. So it's in sequence already.
Yeah,
Okay.
find B4.
Yes, let's wait for a
Okay.
while till we have the right presentation pulled out.
Sorry for waiting a little bit. Okay,
Papa, maybe you can share pantun with us before we start.
okay,
In English.
okay. I will try to explain that. So basically that what we are trying to explain to you today, the information system that we have so far in order to see how is the work has been achieved in the peatland restoration. So the work should be monitored. What we will see is the monitoring system that we have developed so far, which is in the area for more than 4 million hectares. So this quite huge information system, so we can catch up how to measure the groundwater level in the peatland area. The questions come to us why we have to monitor the peat groundwater level. There are several reasons behind that. The first one, peatland ecosystem, 90% is consists of water, so we have to monitor the water. The second one, if we look in much more details, the peat, what's so called the peat, basically is a hollow organic soil. So it consists of the water. When the water is taken out, so there's no supporting material for them, so it will shrink. So that's why we have to monitor the water. The third reason, because each 1 grams of the dried peat, it can absorb 13 grams of water. That's why we keep saying 90% of the peat consists of water. So if we monitor them, so we will try to find the solution. And the fourth, the enemy of the fire is water. So we have to manage the water. We have to monitor the water. So it's very essential to know about the condition of the ecosystem itself. Because if we talk about the ecosystem, in the peatland ecosystem, it consists of the first one is water, the second one is the peat itself, and then the third one is the vegetation. That's the health peatland ecosystem. So that's why if one of them is damaged or degraded, so that the entire ecosystem will collapse. That's why we have to monitor. Based on our regulation in our country, Indonesia, that all of the peatland area, it should be preserved, except for the cultivation function, because we differentiate with the 2 functions. The conservation function, which is the peatland, which is depth more than 3 meters. But for less than 3 meters, then we can use it as the cultivation function. But of course, we have to monitor. In some areas in Indonesia, that there are so many canals to drain out, taking out of the water. So let's come to the challenge. We say the healthy ecosystem, 90% of the water, but the water is not there anymore. So we have to do some restoration. We put the canal blocking to restrain the water coming out. And then, of course, we have to monitor whether the work is done or not. So that's why we have to monitor the water itself. And then, for your information, that so far we have developed this system to monitor in the area for more than 4 million hectares, both in the concession area and also in the community area. Because the peatland is not just in the concession area, but also in the community area. And then, through this monitoring system, we can see whether our effort to restore the peatland ecosystem is success or not, is achieved or not. Because then we can say that we achieved something if we cannot monitor, we cannot do the MRV, we cannot see whether that the achievement is good or not. That's why we have to develop this monitoring system. That's what we have done so far. Is there any slide there, or I don't know? Sounds a bit lost.
Yes, but I think we're going to have a couple of minutes till we pull out the right presentation for you.
Okay then. Okay, maybe I will hand over to Pak Waluyo then, because the slide is not there. Oh, sudah. Okay, so a few more minutes. Yeah, a few more minutes. Okay, you got it. Okay, great then. But I will show the picture, I will show you the video, because we would like to show you that we walk with the talk. We do not just say, claim something like that. We will see that in a few more minutes. Please, hopefully they run the PPT, because there's a video there. Because if they run for the PDF file, so we cannot see the video. Is that ready? In the count of 3. 1, 2.
Maybe in a count of 10.
Okay, the count of 10. So then I will count 1.
Maybe we can teach the audience how to say 1 to 10 in Bahasa, Bapak.
Oh, 1 to 10 in Bahasa. I don't know in Portuguese. I know only in Bahasa Indonesia. 1. That means 1. 2 means 2. 3 means 3. 3. Ya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5, 5. Oke. 6, 6, 7. Oke, 8, 9, 10. Then applause to all of you then.
Okay, right in time, Bapak. We have your presentation right here for you.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me, allowing Nala for allowing me to having the time. So basically, this is the flow process of peatland restoration in our country. Of course, the first one is planning process, or we call it designing, and the second one is construction or rehabilitation, monitoring, and assessment or evaluation. We will today focus on the monitoring. The first one is regarding the planning. We have at least 47 regulations in our country, in Indonesia. From Act, from the guideline, many guidelines, guidance that we can do in our activities. And then the second one is construction or rehabilitation. We construct the canal blockings. Until now that we already construct more than 46,000 of canal blockings to restrain the water coming out from the peatland ecosystem. And then we also put the canal backfillings, the manual FDRS, also their vegetation. For the rehabilitation of vegetation is more than 300,000 hectares right now, but I will not show that data because we are focused on the monitoring. And also that we also develop what's so-called the Peatland Stewardship Program, or in Bahasa Desa Maripoli Gambut, because we cannot talk about the restoration if we do not engage the community. We do not involve them, because there are people who in needs. They need something to eat. They need something to put something in their tummy. So we have to engage them. That's what's so-called the program Peatland Stewardship Village Program, which is now that we already intervene more than thousands of the villages. And then the focus today that will be on the monitoring peat groundwater level, rainfall, and also moisture, and change of the vegetation cover. And finally, we also have the assessment or evaluation, which is so-called with the program of proper program. The information system that we have so far to monitor, so-called the SIMATAG, information system for monitoring of peat groundwater level. Why that's minus 0.4? Because in our regulation, the water level it cannot exceed 0.4. Otherwise, they violence of the law. Because we have a huge land and forest fire in our country. So through this system that we try, the enemy of the water, as I said before, is the enemy of the fire is the water. If the water is there, so it's no more land and forest fire. And also the SIPPEG. Next, please. Okay, this is the number that just I highlight to you. This is some of the achievement that we have done so far. In the concession area, in the forest plantation, the palm oil plantation, that we have restored more than 4 million hectares for the hydraulical function. We have put more than 10,000 monitoring points, compliant monitoring points for the pit groundwater levels. And we also constructed in the concession area more than 35,000 canal blockings to restrain the water coming out from the peatland ecosystem. In the community area, we can see the number there. We have constructed for more than 11,000 in the community area. Because what happened right now that the people think that, okay, we want to grow something there, so we take out the water. That's not the rational logic, the good logic. Because you cannot convert the ecosystem if just to put one commodity. The right thing that the commodity should follow the ecosystem itself. 90% of the peatland is the water. So the commodities when we put there is so suitable for the area. That's the logic. Okay, next please. This is some of the example of the canal blockings that we have constructed all over Indonesia, which is more than 46,000 canal blocking to prevent the water coming out from the peatland ecosystem. As you can see there, this is in several districts in Sumatra, Aceh, Nagan Raya. Next, please. And this is some other area. We also have the FDRS, the manual fire danger rating system. When the water is coming down, so it will going down, so it will warn the people, okay, be careful, it's easy to be burned. And then if the water level is up, so it's safe, something like that. A manual one, but it's automatic. Next, please. Okay, could you play the video, please? Oh, there's a PDF. Okay, sorry, you cannot see the video. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? Okay, this area basically that the canal is very dry at the time because the water is coming out. There's no more water left. It's easy to be burned. Then we construct this canal blocking so the water is coming up again, rising up again. Then the people can use the canal to transport their agricultural products. Of course, there's no more land and forest fire on that area. And also it increased the productivity of the area. Before we construct the canal blocking, they only harvest about 400 coconuts. But then, by next year of the construction of canal blocking, they can harvest 800 doubles. Because where is the coconut products come? We know exactly from the synthesis reaction, CO2 plus water, it will generate through ultraviolet, and then the sugar and also the oxygen. Where is the sugar coming from? From water. If the water is not there, so where's the product come? So that's the easiest way to explain to you. Next, please. Okay, this is one of the example of the company where they have this kind also of the canal blocking construction in the technical aspect. Next, please. Okay, we also do the canal backfilling. We putting back the soil which has been putting out from the area because the people tends to dry their peatland area. So we put the canal backfilling there. As we can see here clearly, this is from the coconut trees. Next, please. Okay, this is the information system. So basically that if Indonesia, if I want to do the monitoring, I just open my handphone. Because already integrated the information system. So the data is coming through from the field, so it's coming through to our website, to our database system, then I can see from my handphone. So it's quite easy for us right now to see whether it's, the restoration is success or not. So through this system, you can see here is a massive data. The red color here, that's the canal blocking. That's the canal blocking, as we can see the picture before. And then the blue color dot is there is the manual one to monitor the groundwater level. And then for the red dot, red circle there, that's the automatic one. So it will count every 1 hour and report to our system. That's what we have so far. And also, of course, the ombrometer, we have that for the rainfall. Next, please. Okay, I will run. Okay, the question whether is the policy is right or not, is it true or not? Looking to the information system that we have so far, because the regulation not exceeding 0.4 through all over the years, so basically the policies can be achieved, even though we can see some outliers there. But in general, the achievement can be done. Next, please. Okay, we also have the information system where the community can see whether the area will be wet or not, will dry or not, through what's so-called the SIPPEG. You can open your application right now. You can straight away see it's in many languages of the world. It's in Portuguese, in Spain, in Espanola, in French. You can open it up straight away right now. I'm promoting our website, but please do not hacking our system. Because some people, they have intelligence, then they do everything which is not right. We launched that many years ago in 2020. I was there also in Egypt. Next, please. Okay, this is the information system that we have. We have an application. And also that we calculate directly what's the emission reduction through the activities that we have so far. But we will have the new equation that my colleague will explain that. This is the old equation. So we can see directly. Next, please. Okay, we claim that we have done our job. Is that true or just a claim or a fake claim? You can see here, ladies and gentlemen, the blue, the much more blue color, that's the area when we put the canal blockings, they become much more moist than the other area. Next slide, please. Okay, you can see there. That's the dot there is the canal blocking. So what we claim, that what we have done. We can show that from the satellite imagery. We cannot lie. I cannot create this one because we download it directly from the sky. Next, please. Okay, this is the monitoring point, which is more than 10,000 monitoring points all over Indonesia. This is the biggest database in monitoring of the peat groundwater in the world. Not just Indonesia, but in the world. Next, please. And some of the outcome, just to share with you, because there's also some research, as I said before, that the fruit branch come from the photosynthesis reaction. This is one of the research that has been done by our colleague from UGM University. Through the groundwater level management, which is 0.4, it can reach 80% of the soil moisture. That's the maximum, that's the optimum soil moisture where the pollinators will active. Because if too dry, so that the pollinator will not active. Or too moist, it's not active because they are like human. Because if we are very cold, so like this one, but if it's very hot, so we open everything. So that's also carried out by this kind of insect. Next, please. The other one also shows it can improve until 30% of the productivity of the oil palm plantation through the policy that we have taken so far. Because some people before, they are afraid, no, you kill our plant, prove it to me, give me the data. Where's the data? You just talk and claim, but you don't have any data. But we prove in reverse. Next, please. Okay, this is the calculation of MEC CO2 reduction through the old methodology, which is tier 1. And we'll go to the tier 3 after this. Next, please. Okay, this is the key message to all of us. I say that let's collaborate, contribute, and be the game changer in the peatland protection and management. Indonesia is ready to share to the world its vast experiences in policies, regulations, monitoring, community empowerment, law enforcement, and all peatland restoration activities. Restoring peatland ecosystem is beyond hard work. Restoration and climate change, but it's restoring hope, life, and humanity. I will say, caring for peatland, growing hope, preserving peatland, safeguarding civilization, managing peatland, smiles are welcome. Next, please. Obrigado. Thank you. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bapak Askari, for a wonderful presentation. So we've heard about the monitoring system, and now I'd like to invite Mr. Walio, who will talk about the new methodology for GHG emissions calculation in peatlands ecosystem and understanding how we use that data. The floor is yours, Bapak.
Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Waluyo Yogotomo. I am one of staff under Directorate of Peat Ecosystem Degradation Control, same unit with Pak Askari. At this session, I will talk about predicting CO2 emission within tropical peatland ecosystem using model groundwater level in Indonesia. And actually, I will continue what Pak Askari mentioned before. If he talking about how to measure groundwater level depth, and I will continuing what Pak Askari mentioned before. I will talk about how to analyze, how to synthesize, and how to model from the data into the CO2 emission levels. It sounds like a very scientific session. Yes, it do. It is very scientific session. I'm not giving you a lecture, but I will just show our result about our research. So please, next slide. Everyone, if you know about peatlands, I think, like my colleague said before, peatland is very essential ecosystem that they need to preserve and to continuing to maintain with the good maintenance, actually. And if we talking about peatland in over the world, it's covered almost 3% of Earth surface, but one of the most carbon dense ecosystem. So it means that store about more than 6,000 gigaton of soil carbon globally. And Indonesia, the biggest peatland ecosystem in the world, in tropical peatland, I mean. And Indonesia have 4 biggest in the world. Indonesia store about 13.6 until 40.5 gigatons. It means that more than around 2 until 6% of global peat ecosystem. Here, this is the how to understanding GWL dynamic is crucial for GHG emission estimate and its mitigation. That's why I will talking about this. So I will continue from my colleagues said before. We will continue about how to analyze from the water level depth and how to measure to CO2 emission level. Many CO2 prediction maps are derived from IPCC Tier 1s. That's why we propose based on our data, and we are not only talking about what you call it, multi-years data, but also we talking about spatio-temporal data. That's why we confirm that we have at least we have claim about our result in tier 3 levels actually. Next, please. Yeah, and this is the objective that we have done. We try to develop a spatial continuous CO2 emission levels model based on GWL change value per land use type. Actually, we have so many land use type, and then we try to continuing about developing the models. And this one, we have at least tier 2 level or tier 3 quality with 10 meters and the bi-weekly data. Based on that, we try to development of generalized and land use based CO2 emission response curve derived from a regional emission study. This is cover almost the Southeast Asia, and try to create spatio-temporal product of groundwater level and IPCC tier 2 quality actually. Next, please. Okay, this is the general framework that we have done. First of all, we try to create peer, what you call it, peer learning, or we call peer peer study. Yeah, yeah. We have peer review, more than 25 scientific paper, which cover all in the Southeast Asia actually, and after we peer review more than 25 scientific paper, we got the equation actually, the general equations, and based on our general equation that we have developed, we try to implement into the our study area. We have at least 7 study area which cover in Sumatra Island and also Kalimantan Island. Please, next slide. This is that I mentioned before. We have covered at least 7 area for test site, which is covering 4 site area in the Sumatra Island and 3 area in Kalimantan Islands. This is the main data actually. You can see here, all the data almost cover 1.6 million hectares. This is our test site area. We use the data for biweekly data, groundwater level data that Pak Askari mentioned before, starting from 2019 until 2025, which is, as you can see here, more than 426,000 measurement from more than 2,000 deep wells, station monitoring. Next slide. Okay, this is very technical issues actually, but I want to talk about, we use the dynamic predictor and also we use a static predictor. And after we got the measurement, all the data, then we use the machine learning algorithm actually. We use RStudio environment for cleaning the data. And based on our model training, we use 70% for training data and 30% for testing data set. And then after we got the final model, then we go to model evaluation and test the performance until we got the JWL raster model with the best patterns. Next slide, please. Okay, this one I will talk about ecosystem-based groundwater level modeling for Indonesia peatlands. This is we cover spatio-temporal dynamic that I said before. Next slide. Here we go. This is yeah, as you can see here, this is the annual average of groundwater level dynamic across Sumatra and Kalimantan PHU. You can see here, this slide is in Sumatra Island, in the left side, and the right side in the Kalimantan Island. Based on our prediction, Sumatra PHU exhibited shallow groundwater level less than 40 centimeters, whereas similar condition also being underground within 2 out of 3 Kalimantan PHU. But only one PHU, which is Pukun Mentaya Rivers, experienced widespread deeper groundwater level, at least more than 10 centimeters. Next slide, please. Here we go. This is the accuracy. If we're talking about in statistical model, this is the accuracy for our model. We have at least we try to 7 models in machine learning algorithm. So the best model we got is extreme gradient boosting model. That this is the robust model, which is R square more than 0.7. It means that very high accuracy. And all the flow model are robust. This is as shown by slight difference between calibration. As you can see here, training 70% data and validation metric testing 30 data percent. As you can see here, this is the this is statistical model actually. Mean square, root mean square, R square. You can see here, we try to divide each PHU, each site location that we have for test site. Next slide. This is the estimating of soil CO2 emission from Indonesia peatland ecosystem. Next slide. Here we go. This is actually the general of equation that we have proposed. And from based on this equation, we will try to submit in Nature scientific journal with the very highest impact in the world, and still under review, but in external review in our team. This is the general course reform, actually representing only for total soil respiration, which is consisting of autotrophic and heterotrophic respirations, not in net ecosystem exchange. Yeah, actually we just done analyze for total general CO2 response curve to groundwater level based on total soil respiration. If we talk about the clear about how much the emission that emitted to the atmosphere, we need to talk about net ecosystem exchange. On our research, we don't talk about net ecosystem exchange, but yes, we do after we continue after this research done. This is the question. And next slide, please. Beside the general equation, we also try to create the equation for each vegetation type. For example, secondary swamp forest, we do the equation for the CO2 response curves for the plantation forest, estate plantation, and also agriculture and other land use. So that's why if we have the land use type and we have the data for groundwater level, then we can calculate using these equations. Actually, each of vegetation type that we have produced. This one. Next slide, please. This is the result. You can see here. This is the shown about annual cumulative CO2 emission dynamic across Sumatra and Kalimantan PHU. I think it's the same result if we talk about annual cumulative for groundwater level in Sumatra and Kalimantan PHU. Following our groundwater level prediction in Sumatra PHU, emitted moderate CO2 annually. This is around 30 until 60 megagram CO2 per year per hectare. Whereas a similar condition also being underground within 2 out of 3 Kalimantan PSU. Only in Pukun Mentaya River, PSU generate highest annual CO2 emissions. You can see here more than in between 60 until 90 megagram CO2 per hectare per year. Next slide, please. This is the annual and cumulative CO2 emission. If you see here, compared to the entire study PHU of Siak Kampar Rivers, PHU emitted highest CO2 emission through 2019 until 2024. This is around half of all PHU cumulative emission, and accumulating around more than 170 megaton CO2 emissions. And from all our study area, we covering almost 1.6 million hectare. This is if we calculate all this or all of this result, almost more than 337 megaton CO2 emission has been done. However, this use emission is resulted from autotrophic and heterotrophic respiration. And as I talking about before, we do only on total respirations for these calculations. Next slide, please. This is annual and cumulative CO2 emission based on across land use in Sumatra and Kalimantan PSU. We try to calculate also based on each vegetation type in our study area. You can see here. Secondary peatland swamp emit highest cumulative CO2 emission within Sumatra PSU, whereas agriculture and other land use in the primary CO2 emission contributor within Kalimantan PSU. Next slide, please. This is the CO2 emission as percentage across variety of land use. As you can see here, in the top side is Sumatra PSU, and the bottom side is Kalimantan PSU. Each vegetation type for each PSU, you can see here, this is the percentage of the CO2 emissions. Next slide, please. Here we go. We do also for the calculation of impact of the hydrological management on CO2 emission across Sumatra and, Kalimantan PSU. We try to divide into managed land, less managed, and unmanaged land. Managed is represent of forest plantation and also oil palm plantations. Less managed covering of agriculture and other land use. Unmanaged is covering primary and secondary swamp forest. And based on our results, overall, this is I will talk about overall. Managed peatland emit higher CO2 than unmanaged peatland. It means that forest plantation and oil plantation emit higher CO2 than unmanaged. Unmanaged is mean that primary and secondary swamp forests, but considerably lower than less managed peatlands. Less managed peatland is mean that agriculture and other land use. But yeah, avoid emission around 13.6 until 70.4 megagram CO2 per year per hectares. Sumatra PSU emits substantially lower CO2 than PSU in Kalimantan Island. Yes, this is the following the result of a model for GWWL. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the final result. You can see here we try to calculate annual cumulative CO2 emission for each years, starting from 2019 until 2024. As you can see here, our result indicate that all PSU generate less than annual CO2 emission average from 2020 until 2024 compared to their 2019 emission baseline. So if you see here, for 2019 as a baseline, you can see here, and comparing to the starting from 2020 until 2024, you can calculating mostly based on our data, less annual CO2 emissions compared to the 2019 as a baseline emissions. Okay, next slide. This is the concluding remarks. Next slide, please. Okay. Yes, actually we have successful for develop general CO2 emission calculation within this equation. This is the general equation models, and besides that, we also try to develop the equation for each type vegetations in our PHU models. And from this study, estimate average groundwater level around minus 25 until 51 centimeters, and annual CO2 emission ranging from 42 until 63 megagram per year per hectare. It means that we can correct from the IPCC emission factor in the IPCC tier 1s. This is actually we have to correct it the value for emission factor in the tier 1 for IPCC. And based on our model predicted JWL with a model to high accuracy, you can see here with R square more than 0.7. Yeah, we can claim that we have the robust model for this research. And for the secondary for swamp forest and swamp shrubland are dominant emission source in most Sumatra PHU. In contrast, estate plantation EP were increasingly dominant in Barito, Alala, Pukon, Mentaya, and PSU of Rupat Islands. And for overall, managed plantation emit higher CO2 than unmanaged peatland, like I said before, but considerably lower than less managed peatland. Our results indicate that our PHU generate less annual CO2 emission average 2020 until 2024 comparing to the 2018 emission as a baseline. Most of the emission reduction is contributed by Siak Kambar PSU because Siak Kambar PSU is the highest covering for all the area. I think that's all from my presentation, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wuloyo. Let's give a round of applause. And to tie all of these elements together and talk about the broader climate benefits, I'd like to invite our final speaker, Professor Osaki, to present on the peatland restoration beyond emission reductions. Professor, the floor is yours for 15 to 20 minutes.
Thank you. So today I present this kind of the new terminology of AeroHydro Culture. And so we, JICA, have doing the LULUCF project in tropical peatland, and so which is something a follow-up program for the long-term collaboration, the study in the peatland. So almost 20 years, and so we get several results, and so one is concluded to propose the new culture, the technology, which is we call the AeroHydro cultures. And another topic is the MRV system, the Tier 3 MRV system. Also, we established the JIS, the model, and also now the JIS model is real-time operation the stages. Maybe, but for this topic, I will present it last day, 21st, in this COP. Could you come to join if interested about the excellent technology? And so now, so just focusing about this kind of new technology, we believe that this is a very innovative technology for the peatland management. But this is not only the peatland, maybe mineral soil and mangroves, the ecosystem, which is available of our technology. So okay, next one. So at first, this is something a conclusion. I give the conclusion at first because of the new technology. Then maybe you can difficult to get ideas. So, what is the technology? So in the peatland, the native ecosystem, you see coming into the peat, the high water levels, and so pH is very low, and the nutrient almost reaching. So you know that in native the peatland, what to say, the key parameter is very low oxygen, almost nothing oxygen, and almost nothing of the nutrient. So in this condition, you can imagine plant can grow, but maybe so in our academic ideas, it's impossible to grow the plant. Maybe small grass only survive. But if you go to the tropical peatland, native peatland, so the tree is 30 meters. It is what to say, we call something the miracles or something a paradox between with academy and real systems. So how to improve the concluded ecosystem, the solving by themselves. So we, from the observation, one is the established area root. And also this area root, we found not only oxygen and nitrogen fixation, then so nutrient take and oxygen take and can grow well. So this is a natural systems. And we learn and the mimic of this natural system. We call natural system is nature-based the cultures. Also this is a new terminology. And so to achieve this kind of NBC, we try to supply something the bug, including the nutrient, the compost, and biochars, zeolite, PGPR, plant growth promoting rhizobium, and mycorrhizas. So the make a compact, then so this bag only put on the surface and try to introduce this kind of the area root. Then so if we put this bag, only the 3 months, within the 3 months, the root come into, then so this root like a area root and take a nutrient or make a symbiotic system. Then so they start to grow of the plant. And so no need to reduce the water tables, no need to apply the chemical fertilizers. So the new technology we call the AeroHydro Culture. Okay, so this is almost the conclusion. But next one. So, okay, so in the peat conditions, I say again the oxygen very poor and the nutrients poor. In this condition, the plant cannot grow. Next one. So this is a typical how to study the nutrient effect of oxygen spread. So this is the hydroculture systems, and so even in the rice plant, if we want to grow in this hydroculture condition, we must supply the oxygen by the compressor, the bubbling, and so also nutrient necessary. But in the natural condition of the peatland, no the facility to bubbling of oxygen, no apply the fertilizers. So why we have the questions? Next one. So okay, so peat is what to say the charge of the COH. This is saturated by the proton, and if in this condition we apply the chemical fertilizers and almost reaching because of the site is occupied already the proton. Next one. So, but however, in this condition, the native the forestry in the native peatland grow well. So next please. So this is first I studied the peatland in Thailand. This is both in Thailand the typical peatland. Or at first I surprising. So the academic information from the information, the very poor and no nutrient, difficult to grow. But I access to here, the tree is 30 meters. So this is shocking. Next one. Okay, this is Indonesian. And so also the very high productivity, even in the very poor condition. And so next one. Okay, so then so we to study these conditions and what is the strategy of the plant. And so we analyze and so the nature, the culture systems. Next one. Okay, so this is the nature, the culture system, the very high water levels, and make area root, and also the mound with the litters, and take a nutrient. And we also found this area root, the fixed nitrogen. And so this is the water cycle systems. Next one. Okay, so the root of the area root, and so this is the mound. So this is the system to support the very poor the nutrient in the waters and the peat. But so in the surface, they make area root and get the oxygen and what to say, also nitrogen fixations. And some another, the litter or so on, decompose, especially phosphorus or so on, the absorbing. So this is a natural system that we call nature-based the culture system. Next one. So, okay, we check how to get the nitrogen in this peat and the water culture condition. To check the nitrogen where from, so we use this dirt N15 systems, and from this analysis that we can say the nitrogen where from, the soil, water, or airs. We concluded almost the three species growing in the peatland absorb the aerial or N2 gas fixed by the microbe. So this is the most important, the key information how to get the nutrient. Next one. So we mimic the culture system, nature-based culture system, and we developing this kind of the new technology we call AeroHydro Culture. Next one. So this is small farmers trials. So the scientists, the Soil Institute scientists invite me something curious to farmer, which is the growth, the oil palm, even in high water levels, and growth is very excellent. Then so this group asked me to check what the mechanisms, and the access here, you see the high water tables, and the productivity is almost double compared to the normal. And so they also put the back, and so including some compost, and I'm surprising a lot of the root here and take nutrient even in the high water tables, and if the root into the waters, difficult to get the nutrient, but in this condition, easy to take the nutrient. Then so productivity come to the high, even under the high water levels. So this is a first hint. Next one. So we study in these systems in the real, the local farmer, and this is the bag, and so the oil palm, we put the four bag, one tree of the oil, and we can find the aerial root. So next one. Okay, so if the make a symbiotic systems to start to absorb the nutrient, and so we found at first to make this kind of the new area root from the trunk. Next one. So we studied not only the oil palm and Surya Barangrang and Sago, and almost same by the treatment, this kind of AeroHydro cultures. Also, all of them stimulated the growth within the 3 months and start the leafing. Next one. So this is after we harvest this years after treatment, after 4 years treatment, and so you see the control. The farmer still applies the chemicals, and so this is the AeroHydro culture, no chemicals, only the compost or so on, and only once a time they put on the ground, not continue to applying. But still you see the productivity is, in this time, the 36%. But you see that this is the plant, so maybe take only the seed, maybe productivity is more than 1.5 or 2 times higher than the control. Control is a chemical fertilizer application. They apply every year. But this system, only once a time applying this back, but still continue for years. So why we say that this is a miracle or innovative technology? Next one. Okay, so this is the conclusion. AeroHydro cultures. This is something that will contribute to the long-term strategies for low carbon climate resilience. And so these AeroHydro cultures, something innovated, the peatland management. So maybe just last one. Next one. Okay, so we published three books and 2 papers related to this kind of technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Osaki, and thank you all to our panelists for very rich data presentations that we had in the past 1 hour. And so now we'll move on to ask a little bit deeper on the presentations and also questions from the audience after that. So based on everything we've heard, I'd first like to ask Askari, how can Indonesia's peatland restoration, now supported by these new tools, effectively advance our national climate goals while also reinforcing global ecological resilience? So how can these new tools help our NDC target, Bapak?
Okay, thank you for the very good questions. I cannot answer the NDC target because I'm not from the unit who is responsible for that. But at least what I'm trying to say that we have achieved that much we have done so far. That's never happened in the world what we have done so far. Even last 200 years in the Europe, they never done what we have done in Indonesia. I can claim that because I met with many colleagues, some of here from Europe also. Yeah, so basically that we have done what we have to do. But I don't know about the numbers. If we talk about how to achieve of the number that we have put 39% or 51%, I don't know about the calculation itself. That's why we try to develop what we achieved, what we have done so far. We need a robust methodology so we can claim this is what we have done. And that's also, we will try to provide what's so-called the integrated carbon. Yeah, because we cannot just claim, okay, we have done this much, but what's the proof? What's the evidence? So through this kind of system that we have developed, we do believe that we will achieve what has been written as the NDC. But if you ask a number, maybe Ibu Mita, the right person who will answer about the number. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Bapak Askari. And just talking about the 3 key points that you talked about, which is data, evidence, and also the answers to it, I'd like to ask Pak Waluyo and Prof. Osaki, what ways can this new methodology for GHG calculation really enhance the accuracy and the integrity for our ecosystem level assessments in peatland management?
Yeah, thank you for good question for me. I will try to answer. Yes, as I talking about the prediction of CO2 emission within tropical peatland ecosystem using model groundwater level in Indonesia, we have done to develop the robust model, how to integrate it between water table depth and then CO2 emissions, at least at the each vegetation type. So we have done for the general equations, and we have done for developing equation for each vegetation type. So that's why after we calculate with our robust models, we have confirmed that from our result, we can at least correct it to the number of CO2 emission level, factor emission level actually. Yes, if we talk about in the IPCC tier 1, I mean, for oil palm plantation more than 40, more than 40 for emission factor, and for the forestry more than 80 for emission factor. Then based on our result, we confirm that less than 20 for oil palm plantation and around 30 to 40 for the emission factor for the forestry area. Yeah, that's my question.
Thank you, Pak Waluyo. Prof. Osaki, could you share more about the AeroHydro Culture and how it can enhance the accuracy for the peatland management? Can you share more about how the AeroHydro Culture can enhance the accuracy for the peatland management, data accuracy?
Okay, so this technology almost established, but use not like chemical fertilizers, using the organic matters, and also using the microbe, and so not easy to extend it. But then now, so we collaborate with JICA how to extend it of the technology, and then so we collaborate with private company, oil palm private company, and the local the farmers and the universities. So the methodology already we done. Then so how to the teaching according to the plant or management system.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. Osaki. And ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to open the floor to all of you who have, I'm sure, many questions to our three presentations. So would anyone, yes, the gentleman in the front, could someone please give a mic to him?
Thank you very much. Faisal Parish, Global Environment Center. Very happy to attend and see the in-depth work that's been done and the new work, particularly on trying to have a model for the groundwater level. So I think that's a very new information that you're developed. Can you just elaborate a little bit more? I think you mentioned that the data on the greenhouse gas emission you got from 97 information you took from the literature. For the study, you didn't do your own greenhouse gas emission. You're just taking from the literature. And was that greenhouse gas emission tagged to the water level data, or you're just taking from your estimation of the water level in those areas? So that's one question. I think for Prof. Ozaki, I think this is a very good further development of the idea that if really it's possible to change the approach for a cultivation of oil palm in the peatland area, that you can cultivate with a high water table and then just be putting these sacks with material. Can you just clarify a little? You showed the higher yield and the more long-term yield, and those you're not putting the normal fertilizer, you're putting compost or something in those bags. Can you just clarify what that is? So there would be an emission reduction from not using the chemical fertilizer as well as the higher water table, which lead to lower peatland breakdown. So if you can elaborate on those points. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll give the answer to Ministry of Environment.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Pak Faisal Faris. He is our colleague also. Yeah. Like I said before, Pak Faris, we do peer review from the first of all. We do more than 28 scientific papers, which cover around Asia actually. And based on that, we try to collaborate and we try to synthesize into we got the general model equations. After we got the general model equation, we try to test in our location. I forget to explain in my presentation. We do also collaboration with our several university also in IPB and Central Kalimantan, and we do also collaboration with the private sector in oil palm also and forestry also. We got several data from covariant methods from the several university and the several private sector. Then after we got the models equation, we have the robust model. Like I said before, we try to testing. Then after we test, we confirm that okay, this is the new equation that we can. It might be improved the accuracy for the emission factor. Yeah, I think that's Pak Faris. Pak Askari, do you want to add some information?
Okay, thank you. So basically that we have hundreds or thousands of the journals, but then we screen out, we take specifically which is correlated to the Edicor variance flux towers, come from several others. And then what we have done so far, basically that some is already published data, but some is still, the data is not published, which is come from several towers that we have so far. So basically this developed the new tiers, because what we have in the IPCC panel guideline is still tier 1. What we use right now, if this published by the Nature, that will be tier 3, which is correlate directly between the groundwater level and the net ecosystem exchange. That's what we are able to have this publication, even though that's in the middle that we have the soil respiration publication first. But we will go to this level of the methodology, the tier 3, not tier 2, but tier 3. So we know exactly the correlation. So we will convince some other colleagues that this is the latest one. And through that, we also will propose the new methodology to the IPCC Panel International to use this kind of approaches. And this also can be used not just for Indonesia, but for the southern part of the ASEAN. I mean for like the Brunei, like the Philippines, like also the Malaysia. So we can use this as our own methodology. We don't know exactly whether we have the data from Congo or DRC. If they have this kind of new data, we can also collaborate, and also from some other like Peru, if they have this data. So we can collaborate further through what's so-called the ITPC. But that's for the next step from us. Thank you. That's some additional information.
Thank you, Bapak Askari. Prof. Osaki, would you like to answer?
Yeah, thank you, Faisal. And so you point out the good, and so you know normally the oil palm need huge amount of chemical fertilizers, but I showed in the slide no to adopt source of site in the pit, so huge amount of the chemicals. In my roughly calculation, 80% gone. That is a big reason. And so then high waters, normally you know the oil palm root difficult to get oxygen, and if the nutrient rich but difficult to absorb. So this is a big reason. So why for oil palm the cultivation reduce the water tables 1 meter or so. But still many problems in this cultivation systems because of the still heavy chemical application. So the decompose still continues CO2 emission, and so the what they say the reduction potential come to the reduce. Then the methane emission and oxidize the zone, oxidize the nitrogen, N2O. So this is the what terrible the technology. But if they use our technology, only put the materials on the surface and the root come into, and roughly calculate almost nitrogen the fix from the airs. So this is the big factors, and in the compost contains amount of not so rich, but phosphorus and potassium is increasing. Maybe 4 years of the 5 years it's okay, but after that, you know, the plant sampling and remove the nutrient, so this recycling is difficult to continue. So you should apply this technology, but at least phosphorus, potassium, how to apply. So this is another after 4 years, 5 years the issues. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause for our speakers. We have one last question. If anyone wants to have a follow-up question or All right, if there are no more questions, so we can close off this session as we are also running over time. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your insights today. Today, we've talked a lot about consolidating the scientific insights and highlighting Indonesia's robust innovations in peatland monitoring, as well as GHG calculation, which is very important for achieving our follow net sync 2030 targets. Without further ado, I'd like to invite our panelists for a token of appreciation and photo before we close off our session. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'd like to turn it back to our MC.